The Utah State University new performance hall is more than just a fancy building with good acoustics. When the stage lights are off, it also functions as a classroom for elementary and secondary students to explore mathematical concepts in an engaged way. And the sculpture found in this hall adjacent to the museum is an extension of the museum's collection. The 37-foot wide by 20-foot high mammoth installation jutting out from an entire wall of the performance hall, made of concrete, steel, and paint, is a centerpiece for learning about angles, the golden mean, classic geometry, tessellations, and basic shapes. Welcome to the Spiral Learning Project, where there's no segmentation between subjects, where art informs math and math creates art, where students learn by keen observation, exploration of ideas and materials, and discovery. In 2007, the Nora Eccles Harrison Museum of Art developed the Spiral Learning Project to creatively address declining math scores in our schools through the arts. The state of Utah ranks 50th in the nation for dollars spent per child on education. In northern Utah, the arts were almost entirely eliminated from the elementary school curriculum, which has a ripple effect in later grades as well. The Spiral Learning Project addresses both of these deficits head-on by using art objects from the museum's collection to reinforce the subject area of most concern in our schools: math.
Our schools are overburdened with responsibilities and teaching other content area, and we find that the arts are oftentimes missing from that equation.
The Spiral Learning Project developed from an idea to work more closely in partnership with classroom teachers so that their preparation would feed into a museum visit, which would also give them the ability to follow through in a more specific way.
The museum's collection of more than 4,300 objects is one of the largest in the Intermountain region and represents a century of collecting by Utah State University. Works in all media by modern and contemporary artists provide an extensive overview of creative endeavors from the 1900s to the present day, with an emphasis on objects made by the artists living or working in the western half of the United States. From this diverse collection, the education curator worked with area classroom teachers to identify a few key pieces that explicitly showed math concepts visually.
Whether it was perceived or actual from the point of view of the artist, we thought that if we identified certain pieces that we could then create activities and teachers could then test students' knowledge in order to meet the math curriculum.
You know, I'm always aware when I make my work that there's a strong underpinning of geometric mathematical systems, but they're completely intuitive.
West Coast artist Karen Carson came to the Nora Eccles Harrison Museum of Art in the fall of 2009. Her work in the museum's collection, Flowers of Fate, was chosen early on by teachers as a central teaching piece for the Spiral Learning Project. Being a large work with numerous clocks and explicit angles, it was a natural choice.
The Karen Carson piece, The Flowers of Fate, I had done a little math and art project with my students. Then I was looking at her piece and seeing that she had these clocks and there were these shapes around them that were not symmetrical, but had a very strong design element to them. And so I changed the circle from 10 to 12 and we started doing the math again and came up with almost exactly the shapes that she has used in her art piece.
Teaching artist Michael Bingham began his career as a working artist in multiple media. Now, after a successful career, he has chosen to focus his efforts on educating and inspiring our next generation.
What we need in this world is problem solvers. We need innovators and people who can get us out of a lot of the messes we're in. And the equation is knowledge plus imagination equal innovation.
That idea is exactly what Michael incorporated into his projects, producing some great things from all of his students. 3rd and 4th grade teacher Linda Lay developed a series of lesson plans that teach specific mathematical concepts using art objects from the museum. She has the benefit of working with the same group of students over 2 years and has been instrumental in designing and piloting museum-based math curriculum. Her lesson plans include projects addressing algebraic, spatial, and logical reasoning used to solve geometric problems, analyzing and identifying properties of lines, angles, and geometric shapes, just to name a few. And the post-tests used after a project allow Linda to know exactly what is working and what is not.
we're working with polygons, just a whole bunch of different like geometric shapes with like polygons, parallelograms, perpendicular lines, rhombuses, triangles, all that.
What's a perpendicular line?
It's, our teacher taught us this. It's like that. So.
It was our old friend Pythagoras who discovered that the pentagram was full of mathemagic. The star contains the golden rectangle many times over. This figure also contains a magic spiral that repeats the proportions of the golden section into infinity.